This is a cricket show and we're going to talk about all about stats, facts, anecdote. Yesterday, India faced Afghanistan in the first Super 8 match of the T20 World Cup. Batting first, India scored decent 181 runs in 20 overs thanks to Surya Kumar Yadav's brilliant 50. Afghanistan struggled against the formidable Indian bowling attack, losing wickets at regular intervals. However, managing only 134 runs. Well, India secured a comfortable victory by 47 runs in this match. Again, we're going to talk about the Australia-Bangladesh face-off as well. But let's welcome our guest in the studio right now. Sorry, I beg your pardon. We've got Noel David, who makes himself available for this entire Cricit Predicta show. He's a former Indian cricketer, joins us from India. We also have Paul Dinette, an astute brain, a voice, and a great artist of social media who gets immense views. We're also joined by one of our international guests, Mr. Iftikhar Nagi, cricket journalist from Pakistan. He writes for Dawn and various other publications. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. I'll start off with Paul Dinette. Paul, did you enjoy what you saw as India batted yesterday?
Hey, Sunil. Good, everyone. Yeah, I mean, it was. I really enjoyed Surya Kumar Yadav's innings. I was talking to Noel off air, and that these games are very, very well suited to Indian time zones. Not so much for Australia. It was about 2 a.m. when Kohli got out. I was starting to get pretty tired. And I was thinking this could be quite interesting, you know. But Sky came to the party. It was good to see Hardik Pandya get a few runs as well. And then I think that everyone's been talking about it with good reason as well. I made a social media post today speculating, is Bumrah on the way to carving out a career as the greatest bowler the world's ever seen? You know, I love going a bit probably too extremely, but his record is so extraordinary, and he does it in all forms of the game. That it's very rare to see a bowler dominating like this at T20 level and at Test level. You look at Pat Cummins; he dominates at Test level. He's very good at T20 level, but he's not the out-and-out superstar match winner that Jasprit Bumrah is.
Absolutely. Noel David, what is your view? Yesterday we heard Sarfraz Nawaz, the great swing bowler from Pakistan, talk brilliant things about Jasprit Bumrah. Would you second the way he's kind of going along in all three formats? Do you think he's closest to one of the best modern day bowlers India has produced?
First of all, Sunil, I'm really excited the way the Indians played yesterday. Whatever I have predicted, percentage of it came out right. So I'm really excited in that.
Tell us the prediction. First was the spinners, yes.
Kuldeep Yadav playing in the 11.
Yes.
Okay. And the wickets are going to be on a slower side.
Yes.
I said India will bat first and they're done. So I'm okay on a Predicta show. I'm predicting right. That means I'm dot on it.
Right.
So yeah, the way yesterday when we heard Sarfraz Bhai, a legend himself for Pakistan, a man who has started the river swing, and went on to teach others the heart of river swing. Talking about the fast bowlers was great to hear. Yes, Bumrah, talking about Bumrah, he has adapted, himself for all three formats. I think he's come a long way, after the injury, making a comeback, especially having a back injury, then he had, ankle, all that after that injuries to make a comeback and sustaining himself, bowling at the same speed what we all expect. I think that's a fantastic performance by him. And yesterday he is the key guy after getting that breakthroughs for the country. I think there's no other words we can all say about this gentleman, because he's been a sweetheart for the country. He's down to earth person, keen listener. He loves the atmosphere and especially the challenges he takes when he sees that he's been pushed to the wall. He comes out flying colours, and that's Bumrah for us.
Well, that's very interesting. I mean, of course, we're going to talk to our friend Ehsan Iftikhar Nagi from the other side about the fast bowling and get on to the Pakistan match as well. But take a step back and see, Ehsan Saab, do you think India has now started producing very good 145, 150 bowlers in the last 5 years, considering this was a part of Pakistan? Pakistan did brilliant job, but somehow they don't produce big, fast bowlers anymore, any longer.
Yeah, I mean, there was one chunk which was missing from the India setup for a very long time, and it was the fast bowling. India has been producing some outstanding batsmen over the years, over the decades rather. They have been producing some amazing spinners, but it was just the fast bowling bit that was missing, and it is not for the last decade or so now. So you can say that India has now sort of produced a well-rounded team, and it shows. It shows because India have a very strong domestic setup. They have, I often hear about the MRF Bowling Academy, the Heer Khan and all of these guys. They are the graduates from there. So it's just that when you have good infrastructure in place, when you have good setup, domestic structure in place to help these guys harness their talents, players will come out. It is all about harnessing the talents. And I think, one of the other reasons of that India has now good fast bowlers, it probably has to do with the IPL as well. Because, in T20 cricket, you cannot get away, with the bowlers who will bowl around in 130, 135. You need express pace in the death. So that is why you see, you have now Arshdeep Singh's coming up. Of course, Bumrah was probably the find of Mumbai Indians. So, all of these things have come together to help India field a strong side that they are doing right now.
Well, after the break, we're going to talk about the England versus South Africa Super 8 match. But before that, let's concentrate and let's hear it from Paul Dinette. Paul, what were the highlights of the matches of the match yesterday? Because we must also look at a cause of concern of Rohit Sharma and, of course, Virat Kohli. I mean, they couldn't come to the party for long.
It was good for Kohli to get a few runs, albeit slowly. And I think you can discount his form in this tournament so far. That New York pitch was really, really difficult to bat on. And we had conversations ourselves, Sunil, about him in the IPL, about how there were a couple of games there where there was a question mark or two about his low strike rate, and then the second and third to the tournament, he just exploded and was batting as fast as almost anybody. So I think it's a credit to India and an ominous sign for other sides that India has pretty much sailed to where they are now, and barring something catastrophically going wrong, are going to make it into the semi-finals, and have done so without the top of the order absolutely firing just yet. And knowing Kohli, I certainly wouldn't put it past him doing something spectacular come the semi-final and the final. Well,
and what about the middle order batting? Do you think that was the saving grace? And that was the only saving grace apart from Bumrah's bowling spell?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we talked about Suryakumar Yadav is such an extraordinary player. So fun to watch that he hits the ball to unusual angles. I mean, David Warner's almost copied one of his shots and plays a similar sort of shot now where he falls over. And it's the type of way that he plays that someone from 20 years ago, their mouth would hit the floor at the audacious way that he plays. And it was good to see Hardik Pandya getting some runs as well. Rishabh Pant didn't last long, but his intent and his fearlessness, I think, was quite significant as well. And it contrasted with back in the Australia-Bangladesh game. Bangladesh could have taken a leaf out of the way that some of those Indian players played, that they were a little bit timid, a little bit diffident. They were hoping for a modest total and thinking that might be enough to give their bowlers something to bowl at. But the pitch was too good for that. And it shows that sometimes you've got to be bold and be willing to lose in order to win.
Well, Noel David, Noel, were you surprised with the way Indians were speeding up on their innings, or was there a calculated way of just slowing down and then going on to the charge?
I think, it was a calculated move by the Indians, the way they started. I think they knew what the wicket is going to do. So they wanted that quick runs in the power play, get off to a good start, They knew that our middle order is strong enough to get that score which we were always targeting. I think it was a plan which was executed, not, I can say maybe 40% of it was executed. Otherwise the middle order, thanks to, as Paul rightly said, it is Surya Kumar Yadav who just took the game away from the Afghanistan. Because if you see, the moment he started to sweep Rashid Khan, Rashid never knew where to bowl to Surya Kumar Yadav. So, the rhythm of Rashid Khan was broken. I think that's what the game plan was, sweep Rashid as much as you can and break his rhythm. Because he was bowling, if you see the way he was bowling to Hardik Pandya, 3 balls, 4 balls, he was beating. The ball was turning so much. I think, all this, the middle order came into play and, considered that score to 180. Otherwise, I think if Surya Kumar Yadav would have got out in that initial period, I think we would have been struggling for that total.
In fact, today's match is going to be played at the Darren Sammy National Cricket Stadium at St. Lucia, which has produced an equal battle between bat and ball thus far. The stats also speak the same, but today England have already registered wins in their first Super 8 matches. England defeated West Indies by 8 wickets with Phil Salt scoring an absolutely blinder of an inning with an impressive 87 runs, supported by Jos Buttler and Johnny Bairstow. South Africa, on the other hand, triumphed over the USA by 18 runs, with Quinton de Kock scoring 74. Yes, Quinton de Kock is back in his World Cup form, which he left somewhere in IPL, nowhere to be found. Again, Rabada taking 3 wickets. And in today's match, it promises to be a thrilling contest between the bat, the ball, and perhaps a little bit of rain here and there, because the conditions are ideal, but you may get some rains out there. But let's take a step back, get my guests on the panel, talk about it. Noel David, what do you make of England, who's got a lease of life, and they've come back into Super 8? Somehow they've sneaked into it, they've got the visa, and they're taking South Africa.
This game will be a high contest game because both sides are equally balanced. Yes, England is, for the champions, and they have struggled the initial period of the league phase, and they just managed to get into the Super 8 format. And I feel that England is always, a side who have vast experience of this T20 format, and they have players who are capable to single-handedly win matches. And I think George Buttler is there. It's nice to see Archer back into side after a year-odd gap. Playing, coming back to play the international level format. They have Johnny Bairstow. We all know who's can turn around the game with his batting. He's a good performer when it's really needed. And I think England will be keenly waiting for this game, and they want to defeat South Africa and move on and march on to the semi-finals. If you see the other side, I think South Africa also are coming back into the groove. I think that de Kock, we all know what kind of player he is. He's back into form. That's what we say. Big players perform at the big time, and I think de Kock at the right time, got that 60 odd runs. Bakram is back into form, so it's going to be a keen contest because both the sides have good bowling attack and they are a good fielding side also.
Ahsan Iftikhar, I just want to ask you about the South African makeup of the team. They've got good pace bowlers, but at the same time, they depend on the spin attack as well, including Shamsi and Keshav Maharaj. What is your view about the bowling lineup of South Africa? Do you think they're somewhere close to top 3 bowling lineups in this World Cup?
But look, certainly they have a very good fast bowling attack. And then again, on the pitches in St. Lucia, they have been producing high scoring game, but today is going to be an early start. And when it's the early start in the Caribbean, the fast bowlers come into the play, because if South Africa gets to bowl first, there's going to be moisture in the air, there's going to be some movement for these fast bowlers in the air. And whether it's Rabada, whether it's Anrich Nortje, these are the bowlers who not only bowl at high pace, they are not only the bowlers who hit the deck hard, but they extract good movement in the air as well. And now when you couple it with the spinners that you mentioned, whether it's Shams Tabriz or whether it's Keshav Maharaj, they form a very good bowling attack. They form a formidable bowling attack. And now they are against a batting lineup, which is a very high voltage batting lineup and very thrilling to watch. Phil Salt has gotten into the form at the right time. Of course, Joss Butler has not clicked yet, but then if you look at Harry Brook, if you look at I'm forgetting the name, who is the wicket keeper as well. If you look at their middle, Johnny Bairstow, they have quite a good batting lineup, and I'm not really sure whether Liam Livingstone is going to play today, but it's going to be a very good attack. It's going to be a very good matchup between South Africa bowling attack, especially the pace bowling attack, versus the English batters.
Paul Dinette, very few people had given England a chance when they were on a losing spree, and so was South Africa, because they had an early scare in the World Cup. Now suddenly these two teams look like your semi-finalist. Is it right to say that these teams have the right and a very strong focus up on their hand?
Yeah, well, I've got a nightmare scenario that I can't help thinking is going to come true, and that is, I know that Australia were required to play their best against Scotland. They couldn't really throw the match, but I just feel that we have given England a lifeline into the tournament. I can see England winning all their games in the Super 8s. I can see Australia coming in second and then playing England in the semi-final and losing in the semi-final, and everyone just
explain,
feeling...
Just explain that theory that you have, England and Australia matchup. Come on, that's interesting, coming from an Aussie.
Well, the fact of the matter was that going into the Scotland game, because of the strange nature of the format, that there's no value coming first versus second in the first phase, there was every reason that Australia, if it was a video game, you would just say, we are forfeiting this game. Not because of the Ashes rivalry, although that would have been fun. More so, England were one of the three favourites going into the tournament. We should have been able to tip them out of the tournament. And instead, not only did we beat Scotland, we got ourselves into a losing position and then stormed home brilliantly to beat Scotland. And everyone said, well, it would have been match fixing if you didn't try to beat them. You could almost argue it was tournament fixing by beating them, because we've kept England in the tournament. And I think they're going to come out and belt South Africa today. I think they're going to finish the top of their group. And I just can't help avoiding this. I can't get over this feeling that Australia's going to lose to them in the semi-finals. Hopefully in a few days' time you can laugh at me and say that it was all superstition, but I've got that concern.
Paul Dinette, we all know your Predicta score, which is abysmally low. Your views are brilliant. So we'll let that go and come to Noel David. Noel, suddenly these two teams look as if they've got the mojo back. What is it that they've got back and which the table tallies and the Excel sheets don't show?
Yeah, it's great to know that these two teams which were nearly,
on elimination.
Offline, they were elimination. I think the most important thing what they got back is the main guys getting back into form. That's one thing I can say. De Kock, Makram, from their Brestow is always a player who comes with runs. And I think George Butler is the key guy for the Englishmen. And Archer, I think all these main guys are the guys which takes the team forward. And I feel that today's game will be a high contest game. And I think who wins this game, I think they will straight away top the group and get into the semi-final. And I feel that...
let me scare Paul with a little bit of information. This is what my research team has dug out. England have won all 4 T20 that they've played in St. Lucia, and South Africa has lost both at St. Lucia. Go on.
Well, I think that England are a better side than South Africa. But T20 cricket, all you need is Parson to go out there and smash it everywhere, or Tristan Stubbs to do the same, or the South African bowling lineup to take advantage of early conditions and to do the same. I think if you could put it through a computer simulator, England would win 70 out of 100 games. Hopefully today is one of the 30 that South Africa win. Although, if I'm going to take my Australian hat off and just put a neutral hat on, in some ways it would be good if England won, because I think that then prolongs West Indies' time in the tournament. I thought West Indies were really disappointing against England the other night. They didn't play aggressively enough. They are such a powerful side. They owe it to themselves that if they're going to lose, go down in flames. So at least if England win, that leaves the door open for West Indies and South Africa's games to kind of be a head-to-head face-off as to who will get into the semi-finals. And maybe in that game, West Indies will come out and play a lot more aggressively.
Ehsan Iftikhar Negi, just quick understanding of which team has an edge, understanding from the way things are going in the last 3 games for both the teams. This is again...
It has to be England because they have been on this venue. They recently defeated co-host West Indies over here, and of course, if you match up England versus South Africa, of course England are a much well-rounded team, and that they have a plethora of all-rounders. They can call up anyone to bowl, anyone to bat. They have the ability in their batting order that they can float around as much as they can. It helps them a lot. Right, they have the right proportion of left and right-handed batters. They have equally good spinners and equally good pacers. And South Africa. So far in this tournament, South Africa has not faced express pace, which they are going to do today in the shape of Mark Wood and Jofra Archer. So England probably they have a little edge. They have a little upper hand over South Africa going into this game.
Well, very interesting point Ehsan made, that England has, and this question is for Noel again from the Indian perspective, that England can call in any player, can ask them to roll their arms, can ask them to bowl a bit, field a lot, and score even more explosive. Do you see that thing missing in the top 5 when you look at the Indian squad, when you have the Rohits and the Virats? Go on.
I don't think. Seriously, I don't think, because Rohit can bowl. Rohit has got an hat-trick in IPL. If he wants, he can bowl. It's not that he's thinking. But what I feel is that, yes, they should be in the top 5. Like Sachin can bowl, Virendra Sehwag could bowl. They have guys who come and bowl.
Yuvraj, Suresh Raina.
Yes. There you go, Suresh Raina himself. And not to forget, Rohit, actually, if he wants, he can bowl, but I don't know what's stopping him. And I feel that there should be a few guys like them, like Sachin, Virender, or Suresh Raina, in that first 5 who can rotate the arm, like the English players are, like Moeen Ali comes and bowls, Livingstone comes and bowls. Like these guys. I think that will be a plus point always for a side when you have such players in your team.
Well, what's your Cricit Predicta team for the day?
England.
Paul Dinette?
Yeah, I think England, as I said, barring South Africa getting the better of conditions or an individual player playing well, I think England will win, and actually will win comfortably.
Well, absolutely. England is going to win, and win comfortably, considering that he's got 0.78% of success ratio in prediction. We'll let that pass and ask our friend Ehsan Iftikhar Negi. Ehsan, who are you placing your bets on?
Well, I already answered it. I think it's England. They have an upper hand over South Africa in this game, and and I would like to see a close competition. But yeah, England might just roll over South Africa today.
Absolutely.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.